Flashback.
Okay, unfortunately, situation abort. This bad boy is mangled. Well, it's gone from bad to worse. These bolts are in there so well that I cannot get them off, even welding a nut and or a bolt to the top. But this has been a brake change fail. Well, this is attempt number 3. Now I've got stripped bolts here and here. Basically, this design of bolts for a spacer is poor. Yeah, it's poor is all I'll say. Too easy to strip with the kind of torque that you've got to put on them.
End of flashback.
I have eventually got it off, and all it took was actually, thank you Project Farm for recommending at a reasonable price point the Lucky Way bolt extractor set. I had to buy myself a proper good quality impact socket and a breaker bar, and it eventually came off. So I'm now going to give the hub a bit of a clean and put the new hub on and the new brakes and go around to the other side. Okay, so to remove the hub you need a massive, oh, here we go, 46mm socket, which you'll probably need a 3/4 inch to 1/2 inch adapter. It's 210 pound-foot, is it? Sorry, Newton meters. My torque wrench only goes up to 200 Newton meters, so I got it to its click, and then I just gave it an oomph of a turn with my breaker bar. And then it doesn't really matter because I use a chisel, sorry, a file and a hammer just to knock in there anyway, so that bolt's not coming off regardless. Yeah. So then I need to get my new brakes out. So the next thing you want to do is make sure you take off the cap off the reservoir, because you're going to need to compress the brake calipers in. But before I do that, I need to find my replacement bolts, because I figured a bunch of these would be fairly useless. And so I've got new disc retainers.
48 hours later.
Rear brakes to do. This hub to do, because I couldn't get the hub off last time. But new brakes are in here at least. And whilst we get it up in the air, I'm going to clean the underside and the arches and the things like that, because it's much easier to do when it's actually up in the air. job's done. We've got grooves at the back. New hub. Cross drilled at the front. Brembo discs and pads. And I've given, I mean, look at the chunks of mud that came off when I pressure washed under the car. So I'm going to give the car a quick kind of blow down with the pressure washer, just to get the worst off. And then I'm going to give Sam's premium wax from E36 look farm. Let's see if it's any good. I hope it is. Yeah, so let's crack on. So, Sam's spray wax, I think, does a pretty good job for something that's really quick. Big thanks to Max, he came and helped me out, and he did my wheels whilst I was doing the brakes, so they're now cleanish on the inside. I mean, the pressure washer and the chemicals don't do so much, and it's just not worth going to town any further. Well, we've just got back from a day trip out to Brighton, and I'll say that Sam's spray wax was a breeze. The Brembo brakes, thanks for the heat coming off them, worked a treat, and very pleased. Nice day, and pleased that the car's back on the road properly and safe. At last, but just goes straight, the right tools make all the difference. The moral of the story with the brakes issue that I've had is twofold. With spacers, I don't think I would go for the spacers that have the hex, the Allen key fitting to attach it to the hub. I'd go for the ones I replaced it with now, obviously, which are where the wheel bolts go straight through the spacer into the hub, so they're extra long bolts. The reason for that is that I'm running 15mm spacers on the front and 20 on the back. Now the ones at the back have a proper nut holding them into the hub, and then you use your regular wheel bolts to hold it into the spacer. But the 15mm isn't thick enough for a proper bolt to go in, so they had these altered bolts with hexes on them, and with 100 Newton meters of torque, you're just bound to shred it. And then the second thing with the getting the calipers off, massive thanks to Project Farm, who I bought the well, I didn't buy it from them, but I followed the recommendation for one of his videos of which threaded bolt remover tool to use, and it did work a treat. Not the first time, but that's because my socket sets were they broke. The 16mm socket that you need to get off that broke under the torque. They'd seized on so well. Used a breaker bar with a good quality impact 16mm socket and the threaded removal tool, which works fine even under that much pressure. Once I'd got enough leverage on it, it held, it took the broken bolt off. Result. So better quality parts or tools, the correct tools, really helped in the end. I made it a breeze after that. So I think I might be upgrading the rest of my sockets to some proper impact sockets that are gonna take the well, it's a 27-year-old car. It's gonna have seized on bolts that I'm gonna find more and more, probably especially when I get around to when I need to replace parts of the exhaust and that sort of thing. It's bound to happen. So anyway, this episode effectively took 3 months or 2 months to make because of waiting for replacement parts to be ordered and to arrive, because everything's taking ages at the moment. And so the episode before this of car detailing was done after I'd found out that I couldn't do the brakes and before I got the parts needed to fix the things that were broken. Yeah, let's hope the turbocharger or supercharger, because I found a supercharger kit that I think might be better for me. No lag, which is a bonus. B, it should produce just as much power as a turbo, and don't need to worry about anything on the hot side, which on a right-hand drive car is good, because of course the downpipes have to go around the steering column as well, which left-hand drive cars don't have to have that issue. So there's very few kits that work on a right-hand drive car, and they have limitations on how big a turbo you could fit, things like that. So actually a supercharger, I think, might be the way to go after all. But got to save up for that, earn some money, and hopefully do that in the next couple of months. We'll start it. Take care all, like, subscribe. Thank you.